Ted Rowlands is in California, where we have been following Proposition 19, which is a ballot initiative which has been defeated, which would have legalized marijuana for recreational purposes. Ted, explain what exactly the ballot initiative called for.
Well, basically, Anderson, it would have legalized marijuana in the state of California for recreational use, and voters came out and said no to it. The polling was going back and forth really over the last couple months, and then just in the last 3 or 4 days, the no on Proposition 19 started to pick up steam, and then tonight we saw that indeed California was not ready to legalize marijuana for recreational use. We're at Oaksterdam University in Oakland, which is basically a school that trains people to work in the cannabis industry, the medical marijuana industry, and there's been a party here all night long. It's starting to thin out right now. You can see a lot of empty chairs. A lot of people have moved on because of the defeat. Stephen Gutwillig is part of the Pro-19 group that put together this. Your reaction? There seemed to be a lot of momentum, but in the end, California was not ready to legalize marijuana.
Well, we always knew that this would be an uphill battle, particularly in a midterm election cycle with a smaller, older, more conservative electorate. But even in defeat, Proposition 19 has clearly moved marijuana legalization into the mainstream of American politics.
But did it bring it into the mainstream, and did the mainstream spit it back out and say no way?
I don't think so. I think you're going to see in 2012, a very big presidential election year, a number of Prop 19s in a couple of states that are going to be determined in the next year, probably Western states, and California is definitely in the mix.
So it'll be back on the ballot here and in other states, at least that's the plan, Anderson, but right now, at least, Californians are saying no to legalizing pot for everybody. Of course, medical marijuana is still legal here.
Ted, we should point out the White House put out a statement saying that they're happy about this election choice made by the voters in California, saying that it wouldn't make Californians healthier and it wouldn't solve the budget problems. But Ted, was that a person with a lasagna standing next to you, or what? Oh, that was the weirdest live shot I've ever seen.
No, that was.
What was that? Are those pot brownies? What is that?
That was. No, that's baklava. Look at this is a marijuana-based baklava for your enjoyment. I don't know how good it looks, but they're passing it out as a sort of a party favor here, a treat for folks here. There's been a lot of smoking as well, as you might imagine, but that is baklava.
There had been talk,
or a version of it.
There had been talk about a high youth turnout, especially in the area where you are, Ted, but clearly that wasn't enough to get this thing passed.
Yeah, and that was the big strategy, or at least the focus of the campaign. They went to universities across the state, and early on today there were stories that at the University of San Diego they had run out of provisional ballots, and the students had overrun the polling places, but obviously that didn't turn out. They didn't come out in the numbers that would have been needed to get this passed. Exit polling did show a tremendous divide. Older people against Prop 19, younger people overwhelmingly for 19.
Ted Rowlands, appreciate it, Ted. Thanks very much. Enjoy the baklava. Or not, I don't know. I'm not sure. It wasn't quite clear if that was pot baklava or not, or is there such a thing?
On the menu.
I don't know how that works.
Brownies was the customary way to serve marijuana.
Do you think that the man who supports the 19 there was right, that this has kind of entered this into the national conversation in a way that it's not going to go away?
Well, it has, but it really, this is a big defeat. This was a substantial defeat, and California, if any state, was going to legalize pot or try to legalize pot. Remember, the Obama administration, like the Bush administration before it, had said even if this passed, they would continue to enforce federal law against marijuana use. So I think, yes, it put it on the agenda, but it is a long way from legalization or even decriminalization at the federal level. There is no substantial movement, particularly in this new Congress, to legalize marijuana.
It just had the potential to make a mess, though, didn't it? If it had been, if it actually passed.
And remember, I mean, marijuana is legal for medical use in California now, and medical use there is very broadly defined. Right. A lot of people get prescriptions for pot and marijuana in California, and that doesn't seem to have had a tremendously disruptive effect. I mean, but as for full-scale legalization, where it's sold like Lucky Strikes, that's many years away, I think.
Have you been able to look at some of the recount issues?
Yes. In Colorado.
Governor's races in Illinois, in Florida, elsewhere.
Well, Colorado, where there's now a very close Senate race, it's an automatic recount.